Washington trembles as an unexpected order from a federal judge sends shockwaves through the nation. Karoline Leavitt, just 27 years old, now faces arrest after fearlessly speaking uncomfortable truths. From the very podium in the White House briefing room, she lit a fire of justice, transforming a press conference into a flashpoint for national debate. Before we unravel the dramatic details, drop a comment with your location and subscribe to stay updated on stories like this one. A few weeks back, standing at the White House podium, Leavitt's voice rang out with clarity, bold, sharp, and full of unfiltered Gen Z conviction. With confidence and no hesitation, she warned that any judge who blocks policies designed to protect American workers isn't standing for justice, but siding with the privileged. Each syllable landed like a hammer, directed clearly at Judge Malcolm Greer, who had recently signed an injunction halting a critical Trump-era tariff policy. This wasn't just a trade decision. It was a shield for blue-collar families, farmers, near the border, and small towns across America still struggling to stay upright. That protective measure was extinguished in a moment, like a candle snuffed out. Leavitt, with unshakable loyalty to both President Trump and the working class, wasted no time firing back with powerful words. But today, she's no longer delivering speeches behind a podium. Instead, she stands in a courtroom without a microphone, stripped of prepared notes. Only the silent anticipation of a courtroom and the steely stare of a federal judge remain. Judge Greer, glasses perched on the edge of his nose, eyes sharp and unrelenting, speaks. His tone is low, deliberate, and icy. "Miss Leavitt," he begins, "you've been called before this court to answer for behavior that undermines our authority through your public remarks." His words fall like iron onto the hardwood floor, each one sounding like a sentence already passed. Yet Leavitt remains still. She does not fidget. She did not hire legal representation, stunning her team back at the White House. Clutching the hand of her husband, Nicholas Riccio, her constant source of support, she told them, "If they brought me here for what I said, then I'll say it. Again, myself." The room is tense, like a pressure cooker near its limit. Every seat filled. Journalists are pressed shoulder to shoulder, camera lenses zooming in, every flash capturing her unwavering expression. Behind her, not a single PR person or political ally. Instead, the courtroom is filled with a visual tapestry of forgotten America. A factory worker from Kentucky in a weathered Union jacket. A single mother from Ohio holding a photo of her son who once had dreams of college, and a wounded veteran whose body bears the cost of war. They came not because they were asked, but because she made them a promise. She once said, "If I fall, I'll take your stories with me." And they believed her. They traveled in packed buses, drove beat-up trucks through foggy nights and drizzled mornings, not to protest, but simply to stand beside a woman who gave their pain a voice. Judge Greer leans forward, his gaze steady, his words cut like steel. "Miss Leavitt," he states, "your remarks have been categorized as incitement, threatening this court's authority. Do you have a response?" A long pause swells. The room is silent. No one dares to move. Then Leavitt lifts her chin, no sign of fear. "I speak for those you don't see," she replies. Her voice doesn't shake. Instead, it echoes with unmistakable purpose. A soft gasp rises from the back of the room. Cameras zoom closer. She walks forward, her heels clicking softly on the wood floor, eyes locked on Greer. The judge remains impassive, seated in black robes, the voice of federal authority. "Miss Leavitt," he says slowly, "do you intend to retract your statement made at the White House?" But Leavitt only offers the faintest smile, not smugness, but conviction. "Your Honor," she replies clearly, "I retract nothing. Your decision pulled hope from the hands of the American workers this administration is sworn to protect." A ripple runs through the room. A few heads nod. A reporter types frantically. A veteran in the second row sits taller. Greer bangs his gavel. "You're crossing a line, Miss Leavitt. This courtroom is not a venue for political grandstanding." Her response is immediate, calm yet firm. "I'm not here to give a speech. I'm here to speak for those who don't have press access, who work overtime without recognition. They deserve someone to speak up." She glances at the crowd behind her. A man with dust-covered hands, a mother clutching a worn-out handbag. "I speak for them," she says. At that moment, it's no longer just a court proceeding. It's history unfolding. Inside the White House, her team watches from monitors. One aide whispers, "She's not just the press secretary, she's a fighter." In New Hampshire, her mother watches the live coverage, hands clenched, proud but anxious. Greer tightens his grip on the desk. "You are bordering on contempt, Miss Leavitt," he says sharply. "Are you prepared to face the consequences?" Leavitt's reply is calm but powerful. "Consequences?" she says. "I know them well. But if speaking the truth is now a crime, then I accept the cost. And I do not stand here alone." She motions behind her. A man stands. A steel worker in a backward cap. Then a mother with tear-stained cheeks rises. A veteran on a cane lifts his head with quiet dignity. They say nothing. They don't need to. Their silent unity says everything. Cameras roll. A clip from the trial goes viral. "Karoline Leavitt is fearless," reads one headline. From the White House, Trump posts, "Karoline is the voice of the people. This judge should be ashamed." His post spreads like wildfire. Leavitt remains steady. She is not just a 27-year-old woman from New Hampshire anymore. She has become the symbol for those who were never invited into rooms like this. Greer slams his gavel again. "Miss Leavitt, this is your final warning. This court will not entertain rebellion." She nods slightly, calm and composed. "I'm not rebelling, Your Honor. I'm fulfilling my duty, to tell the truth the American people deserve." A murmur rises. Soft clapping begins. It builds, not raucous, but rhythmic. Like the pulse of a cause finding its moment. The courtroom turns still once more. Greer locks eyes with Leavitt. "Miss Leavitt," he begins with gravity, "you have crossed the line of lawful conduct. You have publicly questioned this court's integrity. Therefore, I find you in contempt." Gasps echo. Still, Leavitt doesn't blink. "Your Honor," she replies softly. "I'm not defying your authority. I'm simply asking, who protects the people left behind by your ruling?" Her words ripple through the courtroom. A man clenches his fists. A mother nods slowly, eyes misty. Greer bangs his gavel with finality. "Enough. I hereby order your immediate arrest for contempt of court." Silence. A bailiff steps forward, cuffs glinting in the light. Karoline takes a breath. She looks around at the crowd. The workers, the veterans, the struggling mothers. Her people. She removes her wristwatch, placing it gently on the bench. She lifts the strap of her purse off her shoulder with a slow, steady motion. "If this is the cost of truth," she says, "then I'm ready." A prison guard, moved by Karoline Leavitt's determination, discreetly takes a picture of her handwritten note and posts it on X. The simple image, Karoline's words scribbled on a torn piece of paper, goes viral. One post reads, "She may be locked up, but her voice is free." The movement begins spreading beyond the public. Political leaders start speaking out. A Pennsylvania senator, addressing Congress, says it's time to re-examine justice when a woman like Karoline is punished for telling the truth. At a press conference, the governor of Mississippi declares, "Karoline is a symbol of bravery. We support her." The message, broadcast live, fuels momentum, drawing global media coverage. The BBC headlines: American woman turns trial into people's uprising. Al Jazeera writes, from the White House to Main Street, Karoline Leavitt's story is uniting peaceful but powerful protests. In Cleveland, in light rain, hundreds gather outside City Hall, holding candles and singing the national anthem. A student in a soaked hoodie tells a reporter, "Karoline makes me believe change is possible." In Boise, local farmers build a straw statue in her honor, inscribed with the words, "Thank you, Karoline." The image is widely shared. A commenter writes, "This isn't just a movement, it's a revolution." The legal system feels the pressure. Journalists question Judge Malcolm Greer's integrity. A major newspaper runs a piece titled, "Is Greer's ruling driven more by politics than justice?" On social media, one user posts, "Greer tried to silence Karoline. He woke up a nation instead." Greer's office is flooded with calls demanding her release. A group of pro bono lawyers in Washington files a motion to reopen the case. Still, Greer stays silent. Though public outcry threatens his authority. Inside the White House, Karoline's team works relentlessly. An exhausted aide, sipping cold coffee, remarks, "She's changed the way we view justice." Nicholas Riccio, Karoline's husband, appears on national television. Calmly, he states, "Karoline isn't after attention. She wants justice for the unheard." In a brief statement, Trump calls her case a blemish on the justice system, urging Americans to rally behind her. His words only amplify the growing movement. Outside Karoline's family home in New Hampshire, her mother speaks to reporters with teary eyes. "My daughter has always stood for what's right. Now the whole nation is standing with her." Neighbors who once watched her play softball now display signs on their lawns. "Karoline, we're proud of you." But this isn't just about Karoline. It's about a nation rediscovering its shared conscience. Inside his dimly lit office, Judge Greer's screen glows. A new email hits his inbox. Subject, "The truth about your ruling." Attached are leaked emails revealing secret conversations between Greer and activist groups opposing Trump's trade policy. The tone is aggressive. "We must stop this policy at any cost." A court staffer, frustrated with the secrecy, sent the documents to an independent journalist. The leak spreads like wildfire. Across the country, from small towns in Montana to the bustling streets of Miami, people gather not to shout, but to call for accountability. In Harrisburg, steelworkers camp outside City Hall beneath a banner reading, "Justice for Karoline." An elderly woman, gripping Karoline's photo, says to the crowd, "She's paying the price for us. Don't let them bury her story." Photos and videos flood social media, further denting Greer's credibility. A leading newspaper publishes a detailed report proving Greer collaborated with special interest groups to block worker protections. The evidence includes Greer's own emails coordinating strategy to counter Trump's policies. One viral post reads, "Greer isn't a judge, he's a puppet." The hashtag #MarcherJusticeForKaroline trends globally. A TikTok video featuring the leaked emails and a moving narration spreads rapidly. "This is why they silenced her," the narrator says. Members of Congress can no longer stay silent. A bipartisan group of senators holds an emergency hearing calling for an inquiry into Greer's conduct. "If judges manipulate justice for political gains," one senator from Ohio states, "we cannot stay quiet." A Nevada governor urges Karoline's immediate release and questions Greer's role on national television. Meanwhile, Judge Greer faces escalating pressure. Phones ring non-stop. Reporters, colleagues, and even allies demand answers. An aide enters, visibly nervous. "Your Honor, the protest outside has doubled. They want you to lift the arrest." Greer, trying to remain composed, responds, "Courts follow the law, not the crowd." But the conviction in his voice is gone. A newspaper headline reads, "Judge Greer faces growing trust crisis." Outside, the demonstrators are no longer just activists. College students arrive with backpacks and protest signs that read, "Karoline is the future." In Atlanta, women gather in prayer circles. In a small Idaho town, children draw Karoline's face with sidewalk chalk beneath the words, "She's our hero." These heartfelt actions, magnified online, become an unstoppable force. Greer, still holding out, receives a call from an old colleague. "You're losing control, Malcolm. Drop the charges before it's too late." But Greer remains quiet, watching his screen, where Karoline's image continues to flood in. What started as a trial is now a national reckoning. Inside the Washington Federal Courthouse, sunlight pours in. But in Greer's office, the mood is somber. Before him sits the order to dismiss the contempt charge against Karoline Leavitt. The relentless pressure from the public, Congress, and leaked documents has cornered him. With shaking hands, Greer signs the paper. Alongside it, he writes a resignation letter. "I step down to protect the integrity of our judiciary." Yet, the country already knows he's lost. The prison gates swing open. Karoline Leavitt walks out, not as an inmate, but as a national figure. A crowd of thousands watches silently. No cheers, just respect. She stands on the steps, dressed simply, hair tied back, and surveys the people. Workers, mothers, veterans, students. She speaks, her voice steady. "Each of you stood in that cell with me." Her words ripple through the crowd like a breeze. Greer, avoiding public appearances, has his resignation read on air. Its tone is formal, but the defeat is clear. A headline declares, "Judge Greer, from authority to disgrace." On X, one post goes viral. "He jailed Karoline, but didn't expect a nation behind her." Greer's fall isn't just personal. It signals a system forced to confront itself. At the White House, Karoline's team celebrates. One young aide hugs a colleague, saying, "She made the impossible real." Her husband, Nicholas Riccio, addresses reporters, his voice tight with emotion. "Karoline spoke for the forgotten. She is my strength." In a televised address, Trump calls Karoline a true patriot who made America proud. His words affirm what the country already feels. This victory belongs to the people. Outside the prison, no one rushes home. A weathered steel worker from Pittsburgh hands Karoline a union badge. "You gave us hope." A mother from Boise offers a letter from her daughter. "Miss Karoline, I want to be strong like you." Karoline smiles, eyes glistening, but holds back tears. "This isn't my victory," she says. "It's all of ours." In the days that followed, Karoline didn't chase fame. She returned to her office, surrounded by letters from citizens. One note from a veteran reads, "You reminded me what America can be." She sets the letter aside and gazes out the window. The light pours in. She knows this victory marks not an ending, but a new beginning. Greer, now disgraced, quietly leaves Washington. His name, once authoritative, becomes a warning of judicial corruption. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt, with unwavering resolve, turned a courtroom battle into a national awakening. She isn't just a symbol. She's the embodiment of a country that chose to stand up. Across Nebraska's wide fields, she listens to farmers speak of failed crops and economic hardships. No media, no speeches, just her notebook and a promise. "I'll carry your stories forward." From border towns in Texas to the flood-stricken streets of Louisiana, she walks the path of a healer. Once handcuffed, now she's the flame lighting up forgotten places. And because of the Just We're Karoline movement, Congress passes the Judicial Transparency Act, requiring full disclosure of judges' external communications, ensuring no one else misuses justice the way Greer did.